AnneMarie Chany of Geese Quilters and the author of Sister Sampler Quilts. We've put together a series of basic quilting video tutorials for you. Whether you're a beginner or a more advanced quilter that needs some refreshing, I hope you'll use these videos for your next project. Today, we're going to talk about flying geese, another great quilting basic. It's used in lots of blocks, or you can even use this block just in one quilt top and put a whole series of them together to make it look like a flock of flying geese. Here's what the unit looks like. It's comprised of one rectangle, and then there's two triangles on either side of the block. It's a great block, and you can use it in lots of different quilts. We'll start with one rectangle and two squares. The length of the rectangle is twice that of its width. So the width of the rectangle and the squares are the same. That makes it easy to remember if you're trying to figure out dimensions of your own rather than working from a pattern. Now to start sewing this block, we'll need to take one of our squares and place it on top of the rectangle, just like that. And now we'll get ready to sew on this line. Okay, let's sew this little goose unit. We have our pieces right sides together with the diagonal lined with one edge of the rectangle. And I've put a little pin in here so that the square doesn't decide to wiggle on us. And when I put it into my machine, we're kind of supposed to sew on that line, but what we don't realize is that when you press the unit open, that fold takes up a little bit of space in the block. So what I like to do is actually sew just a little bit to the outside of that line to kind of adjust for that space that the fold takes up. So I'm sewing just to the outside of that line, all the way across the diagonal. And now we'll go back and trim and press. Okay, let's trim this block. First, we'll take out the pin, and then we want to place the unit so that we can trim about 1/4 inch away from the sewn line. This piece over here that I'm going to cut off is all excess fabric, so we'll just get rid of that. You want to make sure you trim 1/4 inch away from your stitching line. The last thing you want to do is to cut off your stitching. So we trim that excess away, and then we'll go press this open. And now we can add that third square using the same methodology as before. We take the third square and put it on the opposite corner of the block, laying the diagonal this way, and we're going to sew on the line again. Now you want to make sure there's a little bit of overlap here. That's supposed to be there. Now it's time to sew. Okay, so now we can sew the second line and the last one on our flying geese block. So we'll put it in our machine, and again, I want to sew just outside that line. There we go. You can zip right through it. There. Now that's all the sewing we need to do for flying geese. Time to cut off the excess and press again. Okay, here we go. Let's finish up the flying goose block. We're going to do the same thing we did for the first square. We'll just do it all over again. So again, we'll trim 1/4 inch away from the sewn line to get rid of that excess fabric, and go ahead and press our unit. And that's it. There you have it. You can go and make yourself an entire flock and make a whole quilt just out of flying geese, or you can use them to be a component of another block. I hope you enjoy making these. Thank you.